Welcome back, folks. We are back on our Mustang with the Tramek TKX installation. So our brakes, as I said yesterday, they are all nice and sealed up. Got our new brake line on. Everything was successful there. So I actually think we're going to see an improvement with the brakes. I think they had air in them. Seems like we got a lot more brake pedal now. But going back to the TKX. So first thing we're going to have to do is get this bushing, the original bushing for the 4-speed that they use. We're going to have to put the new bushing in from TKX. And I'm just kind of looking over here. Probably need to remove this. I forget what they call this on 4-speeds, but we're not need. This isn't needed for the Z-bar. We don't have a Z-bar anymore, so probably get that removed. But I got a tool, and we're gonna see how well it works. So just stick with us. So this is a tool I got off Amazon from OEM. It's a pilot bearing puller attachment, and we got another. I believe this is from OEM. It's a slide hammer. I've been needing a slide hammer for a long time. Comes with many attachments, but this is just the slide hammer itself. Right here, I have other attachments for that. I've been needing one of these for quite some time. So we're gonna see how well this works on removing our pilot bushing. Okay, here comes the OEM pilot bearing puller attachment, 27059 by OEM. Let's see how this works. Okay. All right, seems pretty tight. Now I'm attaching our OEM slide hammer, part number 37033. There it is. Pretty doggone easy. I'm sure there's other ways, maybe a lot easier, I don't know. I always like to have the correct tool, but deal or dud, deal. The OEM pilot bearing puller attachment right here, and the slide hammer has various attachments. The OEM slide hammer 370033, I believe. But anyway, this is a deal. Pretty easy. So here's our instructions. We got the old pilot bushing out. This is the new one. It says transmission side shown here. So this has two different sides. You got this side here, you got the two grooves right there. And then you got this flat side. So this is how I'm going to put it in. Further directions right here. Shows you right there. That's how it should look. So I've got I think it's a 7/8 socket. I'm not going to bang and tap. I'm just going to see how well this goes in there. And I'm going to stop if I feel like it's damaging anything. So it seems like it's trying to already maybe seat in there. So let's see what happens. My trusty Summit ball peen hammer. I think that means it's a 26 ounce. And we're going to use a 15/16 socket. So here we go. Right, moving along now, we've got our new pilot bearing in there. So now, going by the instructions, it says use the provided 26T alignment tool. It is a little confusing here because the transmission, various parts came with an alignment tool. There's no 26T on there. And then the clutch just came with this tool. So I'm not sure. This is somewhere probably we could clean up the instructions, I think. Not that they didn't do a great job, but I'm pretty sure this one came with the clutch. This is what I'm going to use. So let's get this thing, get ready to get up there and get it mounted, and just read these instructions. All right, here's our McLeod clutch. And then of course, this is the tool that came with the clutch. So let's get these on. Just to make sure everybody knows, it goes on one way. This side here is going to face the back of the car. And this side's going to face the flywheel. So let's get our tool on. So our new flywheel appears to have an 8mm and actually an 8 by 1.25. So I've been measuring and trying to verify, but yeah, the new flywheel appears to have, using my handy dandy thread checker we got on the wall, it is an 8.125. Interesting. So it's a metric instead of a standard. And Again, goes all the way in there. I know it's not a 1.0 because it won't start. And the same thing in the flywheel. So they don't tell you what bolts when you get your new flywheel from McLeod. I guess there's too many variances. I don't know. But the other thing is, the bolts that came out of this thing were grade 5, and about 3 of them I could take out with my fingers. So it's probably all that chatter we saw. So it tells you right over here on the instructions for the clutch, we get ready to put it in, 8 millimeter, we're going to torque these to 25 foot-pounds. I'm going to put a washer and a lock washer, and I'm going to use the sealant. They recommend using a sealant, I'm thinking the Loctite blue. So looking here, it tells you somewhere, I just saw it. But anyway, about to get the Loctite out, get these bolts set up. Again, these are grade 8. So if not sure, ARP probably makes one that's even better. So you guys tell me, you think we should run ARP? I think these grade 8s are going to be fine, especially with the lock washers and the blue Loctite. So here we go. All right, we got to tap the brakes here, folks. When it comes to fasteners for flex plates, flywheels, I'm just not going to take any chances. It appears that what we have on the flywheel is an 8.125 millimeter thread, and I have some grade 8 bolts for 8.125. But here's where I'm a little perplexed. This new McLeod pressure plate, I don't know that that's right. There's way too much slop in this thing for me. I gotta verify. I mean, that's, you can see there, that's just, no. So we really need to have clutch flywheel bolts. So I've got to stop here. This is not something I'm gonna have any doubt on. So you've heard the horror stories about clutches coming up to say hello inside the cabin. So not doing it. Gotta stop on this part here. We might be able to take some measurements with the bell housing. Like I said, I've got the new adjustable dowels that go into the bell housing of the engine plus the yoke. But I really can't. I can probably try to do some runouts with what we have, but again, I can't get this clutch on right now because it's got too much ambiguity. These are the old bolts here, the old flywheel. Get these out. These, I believe, are 5/16 coarse, and you put these in, again. These are not something I would use for a clutch. They appear to be grade 5. And 3 of them I could take out by my fingers. But as far as the diameter, I mean, I don't have all that slop. That didn't have near that slop. That's about right for that size bolt. So we gotta figure that out. Just want everybody to see that. And when you're doing one of these mods, you just don't take any chances here. You just don't. So if we can add to this, we're going to, but I gotta stop for the moment. Okay, we found the the clutch bolts in it. Trish actually found them. They fit the flywheel fantastic. It does look like they're going to be right for our clutch, but I'm going to verify. But we can still measure. We're going to move on. So this is our slave cylinder. This is a hydraulic slave cylinder, in case anybody didn't know. So there are several measurements that we have to do. One thing that I messed up on is it tells you to make sure right back here that if you ordered this, yeah, right here. If your hydraulic clutch system was ordered at the same time as your transmission, the CSC, this setup here, will be mounted on the front of your transmission, and you can proceed to the next section, hydraulic bearing cushion measurement. I should have known that. I did take this off. Then I realized, oh, it's already set up. So I put everything back, torqued these 4 bolts back to 16 foot-pounds. you got to be really careful because the bearing race can come out with this. We were lucky, everything was good, and we propped it up just like they said. You pull this out, you start losing bearings on that roller assembly, it's tapered, then you're going to be pulling the transmission apart. So take time, make sure you follow directions. I got a little ahead of myself, I didn't have to do that. So now we're going back, like I said, to the hydraulic bearing cushion measurement. We're going to go ahead and get this clutch and pressure plate mounted so we can start taking measurements once we get the bell housing on temporarily. This will all take place, these measurements, then later we'll be doing the run out. So as you can see, there's a lot that goes on here when you put this on the front of the transmission, and of course we got to take reference points. Basically what they're saying is right here, it says the CSC is designed to be compressed by more than a 1/2 inch by the pressure plate fingers when at rest. The CSC needs a minimum of 1/8 of an inch, which is 0.125, cushion beyond that to allow for clutch disc wear and expansion from heat. Clutch slippage will result, obviously, if it bottoms out and is partially depressing the fingers. The cushion measurement procedure tells you how far away it's bottomed out. Yeah, so basically you're just taking reference points. So that's what we're about to do. About the clutch flywheel issue. So these are the flywheel bolts. They're the 8.125 millimeter. Also in this bag were these 3 pins. Now again, guys, I don't do a lot of manual transmissions and clutches. Those of you out there have done many, but I kind of figured out on my own. They don't tell you this, but these 3 little holes right here, these pins are your anti-rotation pins. They're going to keep it from going anywhere. The large boss is going to get tapped into the flywheel right there. I have timed it, or basically marked the alignment. So now I'm going to take the clutch back off. I'm going to put these anti-rotation pins in, and then we're going to go in and get our. Okay, so we have the 8 millimeter bolts, clutch bolts, pressure plate bolts, and it says to torque them to 25 foot-pounds. In addition, I'm going in the star fashion, and I'm using a hand ratchet. Once I feel it start to draw it, I stop, I go to the opposite bolt. So I take my time. It's crucial, that way you don't get your clutch misaligned. All right, here's something that they don't say in the instructions, but it's just my experience, that's all. But when you start torquing it down, even doing the star pattern, if you can't move this clutch alignment tool freely, when you go to, after you've torqued it down or snugged it down, that means that clutch is somewhere where you don't want it to be. It's not lined. And you're gonna say every word in the potty mouth dictionary, because the input shaft is not gonna want to spline into those splines on the clutch and on the bearing. So I go very slow, and I continually try to move this thing back and forth so I know that I've got it lined up. It's just one of those things on a clutch, you take your time. So I'm actually just gonna this is a 1/4 inch drive ratchet. I'm just gonna go very slowly, and so I can still go in and snug it up properly. So everyone understands, this is part of the crucial measurement to set that hydraulic clutch up. So if you look right here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a drop from this face here to the fingers, okay? We're gonna take that measurement from here to here, because this is where the transmission is gonna land. It's gonna tell us basically, over here, we're gonna take another measurement for the slave cylinder. There's your alignment pin. Slave cylinder is going to go in there. There's a pilot. It's got a pilot right there. Going to go in just like this. Then what we're going to do, I'm going to have Trish, who's going to end up holding this for me, and we're going to take this measurement right here from basically the edge of this to the face of the transmission.
And that's going to tell us basically if we have the 125 to 0.375 in play. Not in play, but cushion. Excuse me, cushion. So this is an axial measurement that is critical that you got to get right. I just thought about it. I'm going to have to remove the clutch to do the run out on the bell housing, but that'll come later. And that's not a big deal because it's a line now and the pins are in it. But we're going to get
got the little square here. I'm going to go in, got it mounted to the face where the transmission is going to go. And I'm going to tighten this thing down. And now I'm going to measure how far that is.
Just so I can get this down into decimals, make it as simple as I can for a dummy like me, I'm using my dial calipers. And I'm just going to slide it in the slot right here. Makes it real easy so I don't get it off. And I'm just going to drop it down like that. Now what do we have? I've got 3.13, and I'm going to jot the Y dimension. We've got to take a measurement from this face here to the face here, and we have to collapse it all the way. So let's see if I can get this thing, how accurate I can be. There we go. There we go. Okay, watch your fingers. There it goes. Okay, let me get as square as I can here. Okay. All right, there we go. Same thing here. Got it in that slot like that. All right, let's see what we have. We have, looks like 2.846. No, 845. Yeah, 2.845. Like we got lucky. So we're in range. So we took our X measurement. It was 3.130. And then we took our Y measurement when we collapsed the cylinder on the transmission right there. We did our little simple math. And what we have is our cushion is 0.285, which is right in the middle of where they want it, of 125 as the min and 0.375 as the max. Basically an eighth and a 3/8. We're right in the middle with 0.285. Well, that's where we're going to stop today. We got our crucial axial measurements basically for the slave cylinder. We're right in the middle of that range. Now what we're going to have to do, I've ordered the dowel pins and the yoke from SilverSport. You come back here and look and notice now I'm going to have to take most likely I'm going to have to take my clutch back out because, see how that's all nice and pretty? I've got to put a dial indicator on the flywheel, and I'm going to have to reference the inside of this, and I'm going to have to clean this up some more so I get a nice reading with my dial indicator. So dial indicator is going to come here. You're going to do a run out on this thing, and I'm going to show you. It has to be 5 thousandths or less. These modern transmissions are not forgiving like the old ones. They have a tapered bearing on that input shaft, and you will know it. If you don't get it right, you will have a hard time shifting the gears on this thing. So it's crucial. So I'm going to stop because we made good progress, figured out the flywheel bolts, the pins on the clutch. We got our measurements down. This is where you guys slow your roll. You can only go so fast, but I promise you, if you do it right the first time, you're not pulling stuff back apart. So I hope somebody got something out of this. We're making great progress on the Mustang with the TKX conversion. Guys, if you have any questions, comments, please, I'm reading all the comments. And I'm always open, again, like I said, to constructive criticism. So please like, share, and subscribe, and y'all have a good Sunday.